Hi, this is Jay Ossing from Twin Peaks The Return. You're listening to Inspirado Projecto.
Thank you, Jay Ossing from Twin Peaks The Return, for the extraordinary promo. Thank you in advance, Blythe Baines, for your promo. We also have Henry D. Horse giving us a fun fact. And to answer the question before we hear it next, no, I have not, man behind the machine, I have not heard of the UFO flying in California recently. It's quite possible it's from the Galactic Federation. Very quite possible. However, I can assure you that this episode is great. It features Rob Fronabarger, who I met on TikTok. This man is a wealth of knowledge, and one of these subjects has to do with UFOs. So, get ready. Thanks for listening to another episode of the Inspirado Projecto.
People on the 101 freeway saw UFOs in LA.
Kind of a spiral look to it. It was an interesting, what they claim is a UFO.
Out of all the highways for that UFO to follow, they're following the 101.
That's the one. They know where the action is, and they don't want to sit in traffic on the 405. So they chose a better one there.
See,
Have you heard about this UFO in LA?
So the fact that
Is this Galactic Federation or what's going on? Have you heard about this? Have you seen it? They tried to Photoshop it. They couldn't.
They tried to see if any things were like remarkable as far as an edit or anything, and they just couldn't find it. Now, that's not to say that people can't do some pretty incredible things with Photoshop, and especially what we see in movies. But as far as
Is it a Photoshop or is it a real UFO in LA?
next bad news for Real House.
What is up?
Hey, what's going on?
Can you hear me clearly? I actually plugged in a microphone for this.
I can. Can you hear me okay?
Yes. So,
Excellent.
ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for listening to another episode of Inspirado Projecto. We have here Rob Fronabarger, who is, you will find, he's got his own podcast called Rob DreamsurfersQHHT, which you can surf. That's on Anchor as well, and many, many other places, just like Inspirado Projecto, iTunes, Spotify, all kinds of places. I'll put the link to his podcast in the description. Now, I met Rob on TikTok. I meet a lot of fascinating folks on TikTok who are interested in a wide variety of subjects. And Rob began learning quantum healing hypnosis technique, which is by Dolores Cannon. What drew you to quantum healing hypnosis technique, Rob?
When I came across QHHT, I personally was in a very difficult position in my life. A lot of people would call it dark night of the soul. I was in a marriage that wasn't doing so great. I had two beautiful kids, but I was battling alcoholism and things of that nature, and life was really not where I knew it needed to be.
Mm-hmm.
And I was desperate for a change. I didn't know really what to do, and I came across, by some divine intervention, just saw a name on Facebook with the QHHT tag at the end of it, and I happened to click on it and see it was quantum healing hypnosis therapy, and I got the idea, well, maybe this could help benefit me in the things that I'm dealing with and the things that I want to change in my life that I just can't seem to get a hold of for myself. And so I reached out to this guy, and we talked briefly. I don't even know that he mentioned Dolores Cannon when we spoke, But he told me what it is exactly that he did, and I decided to give it a try. And uh, over Skype, we talked. We talked for about an hour or an hour and a half, which is about how long I talk to my clients, um, just to kind of get my story and learn what it is specifically that I was looking for, what I needed to change. And then from there, uh, he just kind of talked to me, and I drifted off into this very relaxed, very peaceful uh, state of awareness. And I remembered a lifetime that I lived where I was a female in the Renaissance era. I don't recall the exact year, but I could see the house that I lived in. I could see my family. I could correlate those family members to people that are in my life today. I saw my husband in that lifetime was hung and killed, and the grief from that lifetime threw me into a cycle of substance abuse, at which point, at some point during that cycle, I decided to poison myself and take my own life. And I came out of the regression, and none of it really made sense to me. At the time, I didn't really gain a lot from it, I guess, immediately, as far as understanding goes. I did, however, walk away from the alcohol, and from I haven't drank uh, since me and Martin did that session,
Wow.
and it just it got excuse me, it got rid of cravings, it got rid of thoughts of the alcohol, and I didn't really have uh, withdrawals for the most part. But what was interesting about the session is a couple of years later, uh, I was sitting in my new home, um, looking at finalized divorce papers, which at the time I did not want, um, but I managed to stick with a positive mindset and keep looking forward. Know that there's a plan, that there's a reason that I'm here, there's a reason that I'm experiencing what I'm experiencing, and even though I may not understand it, one day I will. And I'm looking at these divorce papers, and they're finalized, they're signed, and people say that they see their life flash before their eyes. Well, it was kind of like that, but I was able to see that past life flash before my eyes and see the things in that life and the events in this life intertwine with each other. And as I'm sitting and talking to, she was my friend at the time, and she is now my fiance. Um, she was there to, give me support, give me emotional support, and we also uh, kept each other focused on positive things. And so I was talking to her about the divorce, and she was making sure that I was okay. And these things start to intertwine within my mind's eye, I guess you could say. And I could see the correlation between the reason that I experienced the destruction and departure of a long-term relationship and had to endure everything that I did in this life with that marriage and losing it and having to start over is because in the previous life, when that happened, instead of continuing forward, I chose to take my own life and end my contract early. And in doing so, that immediately elected for me to have to come back and this, if you will, repay that karmic debt. I was not supposed to take my own life. That if suicide is it's something that is very sensitive in today's culture. There are a lot of people that are suffering out there, and it's something I was always taught in this lifetime is that it's a temporary or it's a permanent solution for a temporary problem.
Mm-hmm.
And that was something that always kind of kept me from following through. But there were times in my life that I did have suicidal ideations. I did have very extremely traumatic things that I went through growing up, experience from the people around me, the culture around me. I was never really accepted by a lot of the local people because I was different. I was different from everyone else. I saw the world in a different way. Um, and I was one of those kind of outside of the box thinkers. And that's not that's not how people around here where I'm from typically think day to day. And so, anyways, the reason for me to have gone through the divorce and to begin anew was experienced in this life again because I did not persevere through it the last life.
Right.
In this lifetime, I still went through the ideations and things, and I felt as if I felt that woman that was grieving for her husband, you know, and and in this life, I was grieving for the relationship that I lost,
Wow.
and it's all at once while I was sitting on the couch talking with Lindsay about all of it. Um, Everything, like I said, it was intertwining and coming together and making sense. And I actually recorded it, and for about an hour and a half or 2 hours, I sat and explained to her how every event in that lifetime tied into some event in this lifetime, and all of it um, made sense now, and how I understood, I understood why I went through everything that I went through in my life, and um, it all gave me this new perception, this new understanding, and the ability to appreciate and have gratitude for the relationship that I have now. Because now I have found in a relationship and a soulmate everything that I have ever wanted. Um, someone who's on the same wavelength, the same frequency as me, and both of us have the same growing, uh, growing set of things that we want to pursue, our dreams, our hunger for knowledge. So all of those things, without experiencing what I did and losing the long-term relationship that I was in, it was 10 years that we were together. Um, Losing that gave me a completely different outlook and appreciation for what I have now. Because without it, I wouldn't I wouldn't be where I am. And we all go through negative things in life or things that are painful or traumatic, and those things hurt. and emotions are difficult and they're extreme sometimes. But what we don't understand as they're happening is that those things are happening to us for a reason that we don't yet see. There's something that we're supposed to gain from that, something we're supposed to understand and grow from in those things. And a lot of times, we go through life and we do grow and learn from those things, but it can turn us bitter. It can make people, angry. There's lots of different ways that a misinterpretation of something can negatively affect your life. But the hypnosis session with Martin was his name, uh, QHHT session that I did, it unknowingly started a domino effect that would lead me to uh, my my soul's path, my journey. I know that this is what I'm meant to do because the profound way that it changed my life and gave me new understanding, gave me hope, uh, gave me happiness, and was able to allow me to let go of an addiction that was crippling me. I wanted to be able to share this with the world, and if I could, I've always said, even with the content that I post on my TikTok page, I'm a truth seeker, and if there is anything that I can share that positively affects even one person in the way that these things have affected me, then every bit of it is worth it.
I find it incredible that so it's interesting. So in order to find your new self after losing your old self, and what I'm referring to is your old marriage and your former, your former habits and all that stuff. So in order to lose that old self and find your new self, it was it was imperative for you to go back and investigate your past self to see how that reverberates with your current self. I just think it's so fantastic. It's a total infinity symbol right there. And the fact that
Absolutely.
you're able to see those symbols, and you're able to apply those symbols in your own life, and the way that um, the QHHT sessions are, it's like uh, you're the second one that I have done, and just like with the first one, I needed at least a week, I think, to kind of really play back over in my brain the events of what happened in there, and on
Right.
top of that, and this is in relation to what you're saying, with seeing the parallels of your past self and what's going on in your current self. But as I'm reviewing um, what I went through in that version, I can definitely see those parallels and realizing, whoa, okay, that's why I might react this way, or why I might react that way, or why I'm hesitant to do this or do that, or
Yes.
that stuff.
Fears,
It starts to surface. It starts to come to you.
fears and phobias are one of the number one things that you're able to correlate with events that have happened in a past life or a memory of another lifetime. Things that you've always been afraid of, or never understood why you just kind of you didn't like something, or you didn't vibe with it. It can always tie back into an experience that is from another lifetime, and that is something that almost every client that I've worked with has been able to gain from it, if anything, is to understand a fear of something. And one of the things that I try to do, um, that Dolores Cannon did write a book about. It's called Between Death and Life, but she didn't really focus so much into the afterlife aspect as another hypnotist, Michael Newton. He's still practicing. Another world-renowned hypnotist, thousands of cases of past lives that have been even been historically verified that these people lived. Um, the One of Michael Newton's main focuses is on the afterlife and what happens after we die. And what I do is I take the client through the life, and then I take them through the last day of their life and the death that they experienced as an observer, so they don't experience any type of physical. It's called abreaction. So a person can, like if someone is drowning, having a memory of drowning in a past life, they can physically, in the room in front of you, start foaming at the mouth and gasping for air, because it's as if they are reliving this. So Dolores taught her method in a way to keep the client protected and keep them from experiencing physical symptoms and abreaction. So, but anyways, the go through the death, see them take the last breath, and then follow the soul out of the body and see where it goes. And every single person, Kurt, every person, all as the everything is getting smaller, they're being pulled up. They can see getting smaller. They can see the stars in the sky. Then they begin seeing planets, and then they're being pulled up away from this plane of existence, and then someone will always come and get them, and that person is different for each individual. I've had one client, Anubis came and got her. I've had one client, her grandfather. But anyways, the someone will come and get them, and then take them to a place where there's a book. It's usually a domed room, a circle room, with a podium in the middle,
Whoa.
and there will be a book. And
Whoa.
this is what they call the Book of Life, the Akashic Records. The person then goes to that book, and they go through, in front of almost like a council, a life review, and they will review through their life, not only through their perspective, but also through the perspective of the other people that they experience this with. So let's say, you live a life and you're a murderer and you kill people. Well, in your life review, you're going to relive those experiences as the people that you killed. It's part of the life review. It's part of understanding that lifetime. And there is no judgment. There is only unconditional love that is there. And for each person, the room may look a little different. The book may be a little different. The council may look a little different. But it's always the same set of events. It's
Well, I'm
always
astounded to hear you say
described.
this, because that's exactly what I experienced going into that. When you took me into that area, into the afterlife, I remember, floating up, and there was this floating being, and it was not faceless so much as I didn't really see a face. It wasn't like just a smoky cloud, but I didn't really see. I saw like a robed figure. It's kind of floating there, pointing at this sort of swirling, colorful, just colorful swirling thing. I remember you took me into there, and I remember like going into what looked like a room, and then there was like a council of beings there, which once again I don't really remember what their faces look like, but they were sitting there, and in the middle, yeah, there was a podium and there was a book, and uh, so this is just blowing my mind that you have found this commonality with all of these other people that you have taken through.
Yes, yes. And Dolores Cannon talked about it. Michael Newton, that, like I was saying, that is his main focus in his hypnosis sessions, is life between life. So I was taught by Dolores Cannon and her method, and that is to take them through the past life, have them relive it. And the main focus of QHHT is at the end, we contact the subconscious mind, or what she called the SC, which gives you access to heal. And there's a tremendous amount of things that can be done in this state. Um, and we can get into that here in just a bit. But the thing that I do try to do with every person is, not just go, okay, well, the death has been experienced in the past life. Now we can contact the subconscious. Dolores said that you can spend time in the afterlife and do things of that nature. Her focus was she liked to spend time in the SC. I try to make sure that each client is able to experience the death and the soul leaving the body, and at least get them to a place where they, in the afterlife, they experience, okay, I'm in this place, I'm surrounded by love, there is no fear, there is no judgment, everything is forgiving, everything is peaceful, I feel like I'm at home. And from that point, that person's fear of death is gone. They no longer have that fear. And most, for me in my life personally, the number one fear that I always had, that was the root source of so much of my depression, was death. What happens when we die? When we lose loved ones, where do they go?
Yes.
Will I see them again? Well, the answer is yes, you will see them again. And they're with you right now. They're with you, around you all the time. That's another thing I always ask if a person is grieving for a loved one. I take them into the afterlife, and through, you know, asking for them to imagine themselves or perceive themselves seeing this loved one, that tunes into the frequency of that being, and that being will come through and connect with the client. And it's a very emotional experience for the client in a positive way, because they understand that their loved one is there. They understand that they they're not gone. They're never gone. And then in the subconscious part of it, I will ask uh, how they can better connect with their loved ones that they're grieving for. And I will always specifically ask the question, when are they with you? And it always says, the answer is always, always. They are always with you. They're
Wow.
around you. All you have to do is tune into that frequency. Think of them. Remember the happy times with them. Remember, the little things that were personal for you, that are the basis of the love that you have for that person. And by experiencing that and having those feelings and emotions, you tune into the frequency of that person. And that's why a lot of times people will say they feel like their, grandfather is there with them. Well, that's because he is. He's there. You can't see him in physical 3D reality that, humanity is kind of gotten stuck on, as far as what's real and what's not real. It is very, very much real, and they are very, very much there. You have to tune into it. But I try to help people overcome that fear of the afterlife, because of how profoundly it changed my life in a positive way.
Well, I think those revelations are slow marination. For some others, it's faster. And uh, for those who, and I think it's just I'm so grateful that you record it, and one can go back and hear in their very own words the
Yes.
revelations that have sprouted through at such an alarming rate. I think a big key to this is surrendering to just the vibes that you're getting.
Yes.
I think also it would be helpful too, if people were to enter into it into the QHHT session, maybe, to set their heart at ease and go, okay, do not feel that you have to force, there's no forcing involved here. Do not force a past life. In fact,
Absolutely.
maybe to set them at ease, go, okay, we're going on a dream quest now. Maybe that
Yes.
might set them easier. So it's like, okay, we're going to take you through a story. Okay. But you're telling the story. You're in the driver's seat. You're telling the story. You could get visuals, you could get smells, you could get feelings. And I think, like, that idea of, because I know, like, in the session that I was going into, I found myself, the more that I was trying to visualize something, then I was kind of slower in my descriptions. But I noticed that as soon as I just tuned into the feeling, the vibe of it, all of a sudden more would come through faster, and
Very
then I would
much.
see it.
Yes.
And so it's such an interesting thing, and everyone's got their own way of learning. Everyone's their kinesthetic or auditory or visual, and it's just so interesting that through all these different sources you have discovered so many commonalities with the people. What are some of the other commonalities? I mean, I'm sure you've probably come across stories that you have just, you did a QHHT session, and then later in the day, I would not be surprised if suddenly you came across a series of coincidences that lined up with those things.
Oh yes, yes. Synchronicities are huge, and the common understanding that I have is the more in tune, um, with your spiritual side that you are, and the more aligned with your path that you are, the more synchronicities you will begin to see.
Mm-hmm.
And such as, repeating numbers. Every day I'll look up at the clock just randomly, and it'll be sequential repeating numbers, like 222 or 1111 or 111, and things like that. Um, Lisa, the woman that you
Yeah.
interviewed in this last podcast,
Yes.
did a session with her. When you introduced us, uh, through text message, and I sent the first message to her. It was 222,
Oh
and
yeah.
her daughter was born at 222 when she was 22,
Oh boy.
and I mean it's things like that, and a lot of people can laugh or joke about it that it's just a coincidence. There are no coincidences.
Well, and the thing is, what's so interesting is that the simplest things in life are the most enjoyable. These kinds of things. Okay, so one person might make fun of another person for, recognizing the numerology and getting a big kick out of it. Well, that same person who's making fun of the person who's getting kick out of numerology, that person is obsessed with baseball scores,
Right.
or stats of their favorite players. It's like, okay, well, okay, so it's, look, it's, we each got the things that give us a kick out of living. So I think, even if one person labels it as a delusion, it's a very much truthful thing to the person who's experiencing it themselves. And especially when you find yourself tuning into that language and that frequency, and it's happening more and more and more, and then you're going, all right, I'm on the right path here, this is the universe speaking to me, these are my guides speaking to me, we're moving right along here. And you start finding the same kind of language with people who come across these revelations. And
Right.
um, it's just, to me, it's so enjoyable, because what it's telling me is that my connections with the universe, if I treat the universe like it's a relationship, like it's my good friend, and I see that others are doing the same thing, well, now what does that mean? It means that me and those people can be awesome friends now, because we're
Right.
all working together, to bring out the best versions of ourselves.
Right. Well, I mean, we co-create reality. So the more people that have this positive mindset and positive perception of life, and choose to recognize the things that are difficult or negative, but don't allow them to become the center point of their reality.
Hmm.
They choose to focus on something positive. The more people that do that, the faster you will see things accelerate into a new earth. Dolores Cannon talked about the new Earth, that we're shifting frequencies, and you can see that reflected by the spikes in the Schumann resonance that the Earth vibrates at. 7.83 hertz is the Schumann resonance, and it is slowly spiking and literally raising in vibration.
Wow.
And in doing so, that we're being affected by that. You can correlate, the general mood of the world, I guess you would say, that you can correlate extreme events to the different spikes in frequencies of the Schumann resonance that the Earth is having, and the solar rays that we're getting and things of that nature. But we're literally shifting from the third dimension to the fifth dimension. They say that the fourth dimension is time, I believe, and but the way that we see time is an illusion. Time is not linear. Time is not linear at all.
Right.
We can very easily transition from this life and our next lifetime be back in, the Neolithic era or something. You never know, as far as once you step out of the restrictions that the third dimension has on us, mentally and physically. Once you get outside of that realm, there is a whole world of possibility. And people can notice today, there's a lot of talks of the law of attraction and
Mm-hmm.
manifestation and things of that nature. Well, that is part of what we're gaining in transitioning to 5D, is your thoughts, your focus, your not just what you think, but what you feel with your emotions and your body, your perceptions. Those things will literally manifest into your reality. That's why, if you see, like I heard you talking about the labyrinth the other day,
Oh
and
yeah.
the I was just literally a day before that thinking about how it's been a while since I've watched The Labyrinth, and it's
Oh
one
my
of my
gosh.
favorite movies.
Oh my gosh.
And
Of
then
course,
you start talking about The Labyrinth, and
dude.
when we did our session, you're wearing a Labyrinth t-shirt.
That's right.
Yeah, and it's things like that, little things that seem like coincidence, that are actually, that is you're co-creating this reality. So whatever you focus or adjust your path, your mindset to, that is what you're going to get out of life.
Well, I
So if
love the fact that you reminded me of that, because it's interesting, because the so I think that was the second day in a row that I had worn that shirt. And then we did the QHHT session, because I was like, whoa, this is great, man. And then I ended up having the Yachtly Cruise show, and then or a day or two later after that, maybe. And then that's when I came across the Labyrinth. So it's just awesome now that we're revisiting this, and I'm realizing, oh my gosh, I was wearing the Labyrinth shirt during the QHHT session, which
yep,
you did indeed take me on a labyrinth of investigations and revelations. Um,
that was neat. That was neat. You're the
oh,
first one. You're the first Old West lifetime that I've had.
oh my
So
gosh.
that was cool.
Oh my gosh. I mean, it's like, it's astounding when you see these the way that this stuff just it coalesces, and it's undeniable. It's, you can't ignore it. It's like, hey, I'm here.
Uh-huh. Yep.
And if you recognize it, you celebrate it and you high five it. It's like, thanks, buddy. I'll see you again. And it's like, well, if you like that one, wait till you wait till this next doozy I'm gonna give you. And then what's funny is, do you find that, like, when you encounter one synchronicity, and then you're like so excited about it and everything, then the next time around you might have two or three synchronicities that are all linked within each other?
Absolutely, yes. Everything is tied together. everything.
Oh,
In
it's my
in some
favorite
way,
stuff.
absolutely.
I'm sorry, I cut you off. In some way, what were you saying?
I was saying in some way everything is connected.
Man, man. And you know what's so great is that with stuff like this, as I was telling Lisa, like, that's what I love about having this podcast is that I'm able to tell these unique stories that people are not normally out there used to hearing. And what's great is, so there's that aspect. Now, also embedded in that is the conversations that I'm getting into with these extraordinary folks like yourself. It's like pushing a button. It's like pushing that spiritual button within people. It's going, starseed activate, and all of a sudden they're recognizing the language. They're going, wait a second, I've encountered that kind of thing before. I've had a story like that before. Oh, these guys are talking about this thing, and I was just talking about that thing with my friends. Now it's getting them opened up and wondering, and it starts getting them going down the paths, and it starts them going, hey, wait a second, okay, so I'm not crazy. I too grew up in, someone out there's going, I too grew up in a town where there are these specific social constructs, and people were taught not to question things or follow the truth or what have you. Wow, this is great. This Rob guy is great. This is really inspiring me. In fact, I'm going to get a hold of Rob and do a QHHT session.
Hmm.
And I love this kind of thing because it's sending out those beacons, and it's drawing in those people who are on these similar frequencies and speaking the same language. And I think that's the most important thing is there's the safe zone right there. There's the safe zone. Instead of trying to force others to understand one's opinion, you're going, okay, that's just too much energy. What if I just simply tune into the frequencies that others who are emitting that frequency that reverberates with me? What if I just tune into those and start talking with those folks and seeing, being a part of that community? So man,
Right.
this is just so exciting that you're just spilling the beans on all this information, because it's so exciting to me, man. I'm just vibrating so high right now.
That's great. Well, I mean, it's not so much about what I do. A lot of people, especially where I'm from in the South, it's Christianity kind of tends to try to butt heads with the idea of past lives because modern day Christianity doesn't teach reincarnation,
Hmm.
but it did in the past. When I believe it was the Roman Catholic Church got a hold of the Bible, and a lot of the books were taken from it. Um, there in that time frame, that is when the teachings of reincarnation were removed from the Bible. If you add reincarnation to Christianity, then that is the one key that allows all of the religions to have common ground.
Yes.
Every one of them. But I chose to step outside of the box and look at all of the different world cultures and the all the different religions and things of that nature, and instead of allowing it to indoctrinate me with a lot of the dogma and things that you see, I chose to look at everything kind of like a scientist would, and see objectively, well, what is everything saying? What are the common things that are here in all of them? Not just who's right and who's wrong, but what is the same positively about all of them. I choose to not focus on negativity, and I have felt for a very long time that fear is agenda. Fear is an illusion,
Hmm.
and through through these hypnosis sessions, it's not necessarily about proving that reincarnation exists. It's even if someone doesn't really align with that or resonate with that,
Hmm.
that's why I named it Dream Surfers. Is let's okay, well, let's see it as your mind is just playing a story for you.
Hmm.
Your subconscious mind speaks to you in pictures and symbols, colors and things of that nature. It's located your right hemisphere of your brain is what's responsible for um, the creation of these things. It's your creative side. And if anything, let's look at this as your mind is just playing a movie, and that is the way that your subconscious mind is speaking to you. So let's just see how this movie plays out. Let's see what happens. And through whatever you experience, I'm able to guide the person through it. And whatever they experience is not always supposed to be a matter of fact, type of left brain analytical, thing. It's a lot of times it can be metaphorical. It's just the way that your subconscious mind speaks to you. It's trying to show you something. It's trying to get you to remember something. Um, I don't know how to describe it. It's unique. It's very unique, and it's not. What I was saying is it's not so much about changing a person's beliefs or the way that they think. It's about helping people to overcome things that have debilitated them their whole lives, and things that have gone unanswered by Western medicine and doctors and therapists and medications and things of that nature. This is a modality to allow the release and the healing of things like that without the having to take a pill every day for the rest of your life. This is something that is not only healing people emotionally, but there are physical healings that have come from this. One personally that I can speak on. I I did a session with one of my grandmothers, and she has had upper back pain in her shoulder from a car wreck for several years. And when we got to the end of the session where I was speaking with the subconscious mind, I asked if the subconscious mind could heal and release the muscle pains and the nerve pains that she's had in her back. And it said, yes, yes, I can heal that. And I said, okay, can you do that for me now? It said, yes. And I asked what it was doing. And it said that it was, and I say it because
Right.
it is speaking in third person
Mm-hmm.
about the client. It's coming through the client's voice, and it instantaneously shifts from the first person, I, me, to the third person, she, her. And said, I'm taking her muscles and I am unballing them. I'm unraveling them and relaxing them. And I said, okay, let me know when you're finished. And it said, okay, I'm done. And at the end, after I'd counted her out and got her back to conscious awareness, um, she said, it was crazy. When you asked that, I could feel the muscles unballing in my back, and it's she doesn't have pain there anymore.
Ooh, I love it. I love it. It's going right to the root, right to the source.
Yes.
Wow.
If you can cut your finger, cut almost the tip of your finger off, and it pretty much grow back. Your That tells you right there your body is regenerative. Your subconscious mind is uh, the powerhouse that runs all of the unconscious systems in your body, your breathing, your heart rate, your blood pressure, your cell regeneration, um, all of those things, and you're able to get specific, targeted answers for why have I had back pain all of my life? Well, this is why. This is where it's at, and now we can heal it. Since you understand it, through understanding and having a new perception of this that you've dealt with and you've carried with you for so long, through that new perception, you're able to heal and release it because you understand it now.
Now, okay, so did your spiritual journey begin once you did the QHHT, or do you feel that if you turn back the hands of time, that there were hints that kind of made you question things and going, what is going on? What's the big puzzle I need to solve? Were there hints of that growing up?
Absolutely. I mean, all of my life, I've had experiences that, you know, there were things or experiences that you don't want to talk to people about that, or you don't want to don't tell anybody about that because they'll think you're crazy, kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And when I was a kid, I've got many experiences that people would consider paranormal, and
Ooh.
one of them specifically that is going to be in the book that I'm writing, uh, about the different stories of the clients that I have and have worked with, had the honor to work with. Um, the one of the stories in there is about when I was a little boy. I was 4 or 5 years old, and it was in the middle of the night, and I woke up and I looked to my left and at the bed that my little brother was asleep in. He's a year and a half younger than me, and he was levitating about 3 foot off of the bed, and there was
Whoa.
this tall, skinny, shadowy figure that was standing there, had a long cloak-like uh, garb on, I guess. And the one thing that I do specifically remember about that being is seeing the purple color around the iris and the slit pupil like an alligator's eye. And I locked eyes with this thing, and I started to scream for my mother, and nothing came out. It extended its hand out towards me. The other hand, one of the hands was over my brother, about mid torso. It wasn't physically touching him. It was probably a foot and a half or so away from his body, and he was up off of the bed, and the blanket was draped over him, hanging down, touching
Whoa.
touching the bed. And I see this and lock eyes. I see the pupil, and like when we locked eyes, the pupil like shrunk a little bit. It constricted, and the other hand came out, and you could see these talons on the hand, and like it kind of squeezed its hand, like did a squeezing motion or something, and the scream like squeaked closed, and it was like it like etherically grabbed a hold of my vocal cords or something, and I could not make a sound come out. I couldn't, and I don't know how long exactly this event took place, but I know that eventually there was so much fear in me at that time, like it paralyzed me with fear, and that then after, I guess, I don't know, a minute and a half or so, um, this thing just like poof, it freaking vanished. My brother slammed on the bed. I still remember the sound. Him hitting the bed, it woke him up,
Uh,
and he started screaming. And then my mother comes running in the room and grabbed both of us. And she still to this day will tell this story. And she didn't see anything, but she saw the fear that was within us. She knew that we experienced something that was not of this reality. And um, there were things of that nature that continued to occur. But as I got older, the more indoctrinated I became, the more those things started to dissolve. And people tell their kids, if their kid says they have an imaginary friend, they tell them that exactly that. It's your imagination. It's not
Right.
real. You're
Right.
you're you're killing that kid's perception of something that
Yes.
you have lost touch with. It's not them. It's we have lost touch with that. Those things are very much real, and we should listen to those children. You
Mm-hmm.
know, if maybe not necessarily literally do or take to heart what they're saying, but at least give the kid a shot to to speak on what they're saying they experience, because it's real to them,
Mm-hmm.
whether it's real to you or not. And you know, for me, luckily, my mother was very she was very protective and very guarded of us, and you know, people's perception of us and things of that nature. But she always gave us a voice. She always allowed us to express, you know, what it was that we were experiencing or feeling. And I think that was part of what, you know, began the journey for me, because I know that night there was something there, something standing there, and my brother was floating off of the effing bed, and he hit that bed when that thing let go, and that fear was very, very real, very real. And so I mean, it's that was probably the catalyst that kind of really sunk in that there is more to this reality than what most people see.
Well, I don't know if we talked about this before, not during the podcast, but on a separate occasion. Did you tell me that you found an implant on you? Because I'm thinking perhaps you
No,
might
no,
have
no,
an
no,
implant. No, you didn't.
no.
Okay.
Uh,
Um.
I don't know. I don't know. It it wouldn't surprise me, honestly.
Right.
I
It
mean,
wouldn't
I
surprise me
feel
either.
like a lot of people do, and they don't realize it. There's way more going on than most people realize, and it's not all malevolent. The there's more benevolent things that are occurring than there are negative.
Yes, Dolores
And
Cannon talks about every ET that she's ever met is a good vibe, and even those kinds of things where that being was levitating your brother. I'm sure in your eyes you're going, oh my gosh, don't get away from my brother. You're hurting him. However, we don't know maybe it was tuning him up, maybe it was healing him, maybe it was giving him a download of information, maybe any number of things that we could never possibly comprehend or understand since it was never taught to us.
right.
I am interested to know what kind of species that is.
Well, I there's a book that's just recently come out. Um, it's like the extraterrestrial almanac or something like
Yeah, I
that.
have that one. Extraterrestrial
Uh,
species almanac. Yeah.
one of the reptilian races that is depicted in there is wearing a cloak.
Whoa.
That thing was standing in my room when I was a kid. Because
Whoa.
when I saw the page in the book, immediately I flashed back to that feeling that, you know, when I was a kid, and my throat felt tight, like that squeezing feeling again.
Whoa.
And I'm telling you, man, I can still vividly see that purple slitted pupil, like the purple around the slit pupil, and just that was the one thing that's like just burned into my brain, is the eye. And like this, there was not that night there was not a benevolent uh, agenda there. That was that at least in my personal opinion, that was something that I woke up in the middle of something that I wasn't supposed to witness,
Mm-hmm.
and I interrupted something that was occurring, because there has always been something that has tried to negatively uh, or energetically attack or try to keep me down throughout my life, And I've always been aware of that presence, and through being aware of it, have been able to overcome, if you will, or keep it at bay, I guess. I don't know. There's no fear there anymore. Um, the understanding and things that I've had now have changed that. But as far as me personally and extraterrestrial experiences, other than that one, I don't consciously have any that I can recall as far as like face to face. But using Dr. Stephen Greer's CE5 protocols,
Mm-hmm.
I have had CE5 contact, and
Ooh,
I've got
ooh.
I've got video of a couple of those.
Oh, dude, this is great. I've been wanting to do. I've got the CE5 app on my phone. I did it
I do
once out
too.
in Giant Rock, Joshua Tree, and nothing, as far as I saw, didn't nothing stopped by. But I am looking forward to that. How many times have you tried it?
Well, I mean, pretty much any time that I go outside and just look at the stars, um, I know at least over the last 4 or 5 years, I've had at least 2 to 3 a year
Whoa.
of those kind of experiences. And when it happens, it's not like you just see something in the sky moving. Is there's a feeling, there's an atmosphere that
Mm.
happens with it. There's an emotional connection that happens. This feeling of pure love, unconditional love, and it's when it happens, you know.
So on the app, there's that frequency. It goes, it's got that little frequency. How long
Yes.
do you play that frequency for? Is it throughout the entire time while you're calling in the ships, or like how long do you
What
play it?
I
Maybe 30 seconds and then you wait, or do you just keep playing it?
Well, what I do is I've got those little Bluetooth things that you can plug up in your cigarette lighter in the car,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
that you can tune your radio station to frequency. I tune mine to 87.9. That's just what mine's set at. And then I will play that frequency through my phone into the receiver that plays it over the radio in my car. And I will turn that on and leave the radio going in the car. So it's not just coming out of the speakers in the car. That is literally a bandwidth, frequency that is playing over the radio waves, and,
Oh.
and can be picked up.
Oh, yes, 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 yes. I know what you mean. In the olden days, they had what was called Mr. Microphone, and you could actually sing over the radio station as long as you found an empty, non-used station. You could actually sing through this microphone, which was in a sense a radio transmitter, and it would come out of your radio. Okay, so
Right.
this is one of those kinds of things. That's awesome.
Yes. So I mean, like even if I don't have that the device plugged in, and you can get them at any store pretty much. Like Walmart. I think I paid $20 for mine. But you can, when I don't have it plugged in, I can drive down the road, and every now and then a car will get within a certain distance of me and have one hooked in, and I can hear what they're playing on their radio.
Whoa.
So it's essentially you're creating a beacon,
Yeah.
and by doing that and playing the Fibonacci frequency through the app,
Wow, man.
that beacon is then picked up. It also has to do with you projecting your awareness and your intention out too. If you have any fear or any type of doubt or anything like that in your radius, for lack of a better word, then they won't show up. If, like, say you've got a buddy with you and he's like, "Oh man, this isn't gonna work," it
Mm-hmm.
won't. It won't work. But if you have the open mind that
Yes.
there is a possibility that it could work, and you basically, what I do is I will kind of project my awareness out. In the app, it talks about how to, visualize uh, where you are, like you're looking on Google Maps or something, and zoom out from that all the way out into space, like you're looking at the Earth,
Uh-huh.
and then reverse that and come back in. So I'll do that. I'll see myself where I'm at, standing in the yard or
Mm-hmm.
whatever, and then zoom out in my mind like I'm sitting there meditating. And then I will see it come back in and zoom back in to where I'm at. And then I will project out if there are any entities that are receiving this or can hear me, if it is safe for you to do so.
Wow.
If it is safe for you to do so and you would like to show up, then please feel free to do so. I would be very grateful and very humbled if you would just like to flash a light or something, zip by just to say hello. And then I let that thought go.
Mm-hmm.
I don't hold on to it, because just as you were talking about, if you try to force the awareness or the perception of something in
Mm-hmm.
the hypnosis, it's the same with meditation. If you try to focus or force something, it won't work. But if you have that intention, you feel it, and along with the thought, you feel it emotionally, and then you let it go and have no expectation. Don't set an expectation of what you want to show up. Then from that point, after I have that feeling and let it go, I'm just looking at the stars, and then I will, like, my spidey sense will go off, I guess, and I'll have this kind of like a warm buzz will kind of come over my body like a wave, and then it's like I know that they're coming. I know that they're going to show up, and sure enough, one of the videos I have, you see him, the UFO or the orb pop up, and once it does, it just kind of slowly coasts out across the sky, and then you see I'm within a commercial flight path between Little Rock and Memphis, and so there's lots of airlines and things like that travel through here, but you've also got Little Rock Air Force Base, and you can tell the difference in the planes by the lights that they have on them, as well as obviously the speed. But this thing is coming across the sky. In the video, you can see it, and the sky is like this real beautiful purple color. And then as this thing's coming across the sky, you see these jets coming from all different directions straight towards this thing,
Whoa.
and it's in the video. And
Whoa.
the the thing like glitches almost, and it's just like whoop, it's in a different position, and then you see it make a complete like 180 U-turn. That if there was any type of craft that we have, it would kill the person as fast as this thing whipped around. And then slowly, as the another wave of jets were coming at this thing, it just dissolved into nothing. It was gone, and then it was over with. And that was one of the ones that I was fortunate and lucky enough to be able to capture footage of.
It's amazing. Now, what's the closest that they've been able to get to you?
Um, I really couldn't tell you as far as distance. Um, I know I've seen some directly over the tops of trees. I mean, not like you could throw a rock and hit it, but close enough that this thing is like, this isn't a plane, it's not a helicopter, there's no sound, everything is dead silent when this happens, and it is that one that I'm talking about. Uh, it was just essentially like a ball of light, just like it was an energetic presence almost. You can tell that there's an intelligence or a consciousness to the craft, if you will. I know that sounds strange, but um, once you experience it, it's like you're connecting with. There's an emotional connection to this thing that you're seeing, this light that you're seeing in the sky. And that one that I'm talking about, that was really close over the top of the trees. I was playing that Fibonacci frequency over the radio in the truck, and I turned the volume down on the truck. So it wasn't coming through the speakers, but it's still playing on that station. I get out of the truck and look up, and I see this light, and the light flashed 3 times. It was like pop, pop, pop. And so I took my phone and I decided to flash my flashlight on my
Ooh.
phone, and
Ooh.
it repeated the sequence back to me.
Oh my gosh, this is
Yeah,
incredible. Incredible. It's giving you high fives. It's like, I see you.
yeah. It
We're,
was
oh my God.
100% confirmation. Like this thing like flashed back to me with the phone. It did that 2 times. It repeated the sequence that I did on my phone,
Oh my
and
gosh.
then I became extremely excited, and my emotions started you know overwhelming me, I guess, and it picked up on that excitatory state of my energy, and then it left. So I mean, you've got to be at a calm, you know, open-minded, no expectations, um, just a peaceful, meditative state, the hypnagogic state. Hypnagogic. I can't remember how to pronounce that.
This totally reminds me of Close Encounters of the Third Kind, where they're going do 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 do, and it goes burr, 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 and they're communicating
Yeah.
with each other. That's exactly what happened to you. You're like the Richard Dreyfuss character. It's incredible, dude. Real life
Yeah.
Richard Dreyfuss. Oh my gosh. I can't get enough of these stories. I love hearing these stories. Now, you and I had been talking that you have a history with being a welder. Have you utilized those skills to create maybe extraterrestrial oriented or spiritual oriented sculptures or anything like that?
I have not. No, I haven't. I haven't really done a lot of artsy type stuff with the welding. A lot of the weld. I've been welding for about 7 years now, and I I picked up welding just you know on a by chance, I guess, because I had just flunked my RN degree by 0.6%, and then I needed something that I could learn fast, get a job, and provide for my family. And I decided to try welding because I had 4 years of electrical experience, and the electrician passed away from cancer and didn't log any of my apprentice hours.
Oh
So
man.
yeah, none of the experience that I had at that point would have counted, and would have had to start over. So I was like, okay, well, I'll try welding, and I went over, and it was something that I had never done it before in my life, and didn't know anything about it. And in 11 weeks, I had learned enough about it to go get a job and begin providing for my family. And from there, I worked industrial type welding, building aerators for fish ponds, Game and Fish Commission, um, different fish farms, and things of that nature. the things that go in the water in the ponds, and they spin. They've got the blades on them, and it oxygenates, aerates the water. I built those for a while, and then I got a call to see if I wanted to come back to the school and help teach. And I was the assistant instructor at the technical college here locally for uh, 2 semesters. And then from there, I went back to the original company that I worked for a couple of years, and then started on my own. And once I started on my own, it's been mainly repair, I've and structural type uh, work. So I haven't done a lot of art type things with the welding, but I know I definitely could, and it's something that has it's been stewing in the pot for a while. I've
Well, I'm
had
thinking, I'm
ideas.
getting images in my brain of, Burning Man. They're always building like astounding sculptures there and everything. And I'm just getting these visions of you out in Burning Man helping build these, since with your electricity skills, your welding skills, combining that. I find it's interesting that well, a couple of things here, a couple of different paths to go down here. First of all, you just go, what the heck, let's just pick up welding, and look how good you did at just following that instinct. I just have to point that out. I think that's fantastic that you go, what the heck,
Thank you.
I need to provide for the family. Let's try this. And before you know it, you're teaching it to others. Just so
Yeah.
cool.
Oh,
Um,
that was one of my gifts, I believe. I'm jack of all trades, but I'm not really a master of any. I like to involve myself and learn as much as possible though about something. Especially if I'm gonna have my hands on it, my name on it. It's something that I want to know what I'm doing, and I want it to be done right. I'm a perfectionist, so I think that the welding and things of that nature, it gave me a lot of discipline and patience, and I think that it was necessary to help transition into
wow.
what I'm doing now.
Wow, I'm just seeing so much symbology right here because the stuff that we do throughout our lives, we have no idea what the real skills. Yes, there is the skill of welding. Yes, however, you just pointed out, there's the skill of patience that you learned, which is now something that you're utilizing with QHHT. You're being patient while people are telling you their story. You're there. You're sitting there with them. You're not rushing them along. You're
Right.
in that, and then we add to the fact of how you were going to be a nurse, and and there it was, helping people. What is welding? Welding is connecting things together, you know um 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 sculpting these things together that are workable and practical. That's what you're doing with QHHT. You're helping connect things. You're helping heal people. Being a nurse, what is that? That's health. That's helping people out. Well, all of those things are, man, they're all braided together in the
Right.
QHHT that you're doing, and it's phenomenal when we can look back on those little pieces, those little ingredients, and the way in which they help bake the cake that you're now enjoying, so to speak.
Yeah. Well, the nursing, it yeah, right, like within a year and a half to 2 years after the nursing school thing kind of went kaput, is when things with the different flus that were coming out, and then COVID hit, and I realized that it was a very good thing
Hmm.
for
Oh
me
yeah.
personally, that because I've got extreme respect and admiration for the nurses and the doctors that have
Hmm.
persevered through this. But that was definitely not my type of not my cup of tea.
Hmm.
But I retained all of the knowledge, the body systems, the way that the body works, the way that the brain works, the nerve systems, all of those things, and it helps me to be able to correlate. If somebody's dealing with some type of physical illness or physical ailment, I can know medically why that's happening or where that's happening or what's going on with them. And then the QHHT side of it allows me to emotionally know what's going on. And then by connecting the two together and painting the picture, then the understanding happens, and that is where the healing then takes place.
Well, it's amazing because I'm getting a flashback of when you said you helped, you were working with your grandmother and the subconscious. It's like you could imagine in your mind's eye from your nursing studies what's going on in there. And then you could most appropriately zero in on that target and go, okay, subconscious, this is, what's going on over here in this little region. And um, man, it's just amazing. It's amazing. We can never underestimate the learning that we're being taught in these moments and how they're going to come into play in the future as valuable skills. It's
Absolutely.
it just thrills me. It's so thrilling. And by following your heart and by following your intuition, it proves itself time and time again.
It does. It does. If you have an intuition about something, if you have a gut feeling about something, maybe not necessarily dive head first into it, but don't dismiss it. Be careful about over analyzing. Be careful
Hmm.
about second guessing yourself, because there's a reason that intuition happened. There's a reason that gut feeling happened. Even if it's, maybe you're not meant to act on whatever that feeling was, but that perception occurred because there's some insight there that you're supposed to gain from it.
Gosh, man. Now, you you were talking about this white gold. I just have got to touch upon this because first of all, I've never heard about it in my life. And I'm sure there's quite a few folks out there who either have heard about it and would like to hear more about it, or folks who had never heard about it. And can you describe a little bit of that? Because that's fascinating to me as well.
Sure. Um, so it is called, right now, it's called Ormus, or Orm, ORME, is the singular, which is orbitally rearranged monoatomic element. Ormus is the plural. It is also called monoatomic white gold. This is it is a white powder once it's dried that dates back, it predates ancient Egypt. Um, it is referenced in the Bible as, it's believed to be what is referenced in the Bible as manna, what the Israelites survived in the desert for 40 years off of, what was found uh, in there's like a cave that was found somewhere over in the Middle East that had this strange white powder in it that was described, I believe it was described like ash, but it wasn't. It was this white powder, ormus. In the Bible, when they talk about Moses and the golden uh, the calf statue and having it uh, torn apart, broken down, and burned, and then the ashes rubbed on the cheek of the little girl. The powder that was rubbed on her cheek. This is what they're talking about. In ancient Egypt, it's called mufkut, and it was the main ingredient that they put in the pharaoh's bread that the pharaohs ate to be closer to the gods. And the in ancient Egyptian, mufkut translates to, literally translates to what is it. In
Ooh.
ancient Hebrew, manna translates to what is it. If you take
Interesting.
this powder and have it sent off to be analyzed, it comes back as 98% nothing. So we still have yet to really pin down exactly what this is.
Oh my
But
gosh.
in alchemy, they refer to it as the philosopher's stone. They're uh, attributing it to one of the reasons why in ancient times you see records of people living to be 6, 7, 800 years old. This is one of the tools, one of the reasons why this was possible. Um, I myself, I'm still learning a lot about it. There is a documentary on Gaia, the app Gaia. It's called All the Gold You Can Eat. And in this documentary, the they start talking about this substance and its benefits. And the guy uh, gets hooked up to a machine that reads his brain waves. And when he takes the Ormus, you almost instantaneously see his alpha waves spike, which is, excuse me, I'm sorry, which is the alpha waves are the relaxed beginning meditative stages, and at you know at a relaxed state, we are able to be uh, more intuitive. We are able to be uh, make better decisions. This is where your problem solving skills and things of that nature come from. Your brain is in the alpha wave state. So um, I posted a few clips on my TikTok page about the Ormus from this documentary, and within a couple of weeks of me posting it, I got a message in my inbox that said, "Hey, I it's nice to see that this is somebody has finally posted about this on TikTok, and I know the guy that is in this documentary,
Whoa.
and he wants to talk to you."
Whoa.
So, yeah. So, I first I speak with the gentleman that sent me a message in my inbox, and he is an archaeologist that has artifacts from um, the southern North America that predate the Maya, Incan, and Olmec civilizations. They've
Oh my.
been carbon dated to predate those civilizations,
Whoa.
and they have depictions of uh, you know beings that seem to have what we would deem ancient Egyptian um, outfits, dress on, and then in those same artifacts with these Egyptian looking figures are figures that look like all different races of extraterrestrials.
Oh boy.
And they are being found in Texas and New Mexico
Wow.
and, yeah, right here in the U.S. And so I speak with this guy and start learning, about what he's doing. And he connects me with Peter May, which is the guy, one of the main guys that is interviewed in this documentary, who extracts Ormus's self and uses essential oils and makes different products for people to use to help them with their spiritual journeys. And it's finally I got in contact with him, and he was very very cryptic. I've never. It was always anytime that I have a question or something of that nature and reach out to him. I have to wait a little while to hear back from him, but he always gets back to me. But it's never a direct answer. It's like another clue,
Yeah.
that guides me further down the rabbit hole.
Wow.
But I have learned how to extract this myself using um, salt water and organic sea salt, distilled water, and food grade sodium hydroxide, which you can get on Amazon. Um, the process, if you're going to try to learn about it and do it, I would suggest getting the book. It's called Ormus Modern Day Alchemy, and that I forget who the author is, but that book gives all of the different ways to extract it, and it gives a lot of the benefits and things that this element can add to your life. It is not mind altering. It is not something that you know people would use to try to get messed up on or something like that. It's not like that in any way. Um, I have been I've been taking it myself for I guess about 4 months now, maybe 5 months, and it's not an everyday thing. It's just basically after the first time that I successfully extracted it from water, um, I immediately noticed my intuition was the main
Ooh.
thing. Intuitive hits throughout the day just became more and more obvious, and the ability to meditate became easier. Things just it seems each day I'm a little more aware. I'm a little more conscious. I notice things that most people wouldn't. I'm able to easily solve problems, things that uh, normally normally would uh, cause anxiety or things of that nature. I'm able to come at calmly, and
Wow. So
yeah,
this is interesting because, if
you
this
can.
stuff traces all the way back then, and even like, let's say during the Egyptians and stuff like that, this makes so much sense why the civilizations were so advanced at the times that they were, and why, Jesus was doing what he was doing. And such high vibrations were there, how they're able to build the pyramids according to the stars and all that jazz. I mean, if these guys are taking the Ormus and maybe baking it into their cakes, or making teas out of it, soups out of it. And imagine, the little kids eating it, and the old people eating it. Everybody in the communities is eating and drinking this stuff. Just imagine the kind of conversations they were having. Imagine the kinds of philosophies that were going, they're just beaming into their brains,
Oh yeah,
and the kinds of critical thinking that could, immediately rise to the surface.
absolutely.
Wow, man.
But it Ormus is still it's still a new terrain for me. Um, I'm I'm not as knowledgeable about it, I guess you could say, as some of the other topics that I have, but I do know that it's important enough that it has been suppressed, and the knowledge of it has been suppressed for centuries, and
Isn't it funny? All this high powered, enlightening stuff that we always hear about through these different avenues, they always seem to be the ones that are suppressed, huh? You know, and you can't help
Right.
but wonder, now, why is that? But everybody knows the answer. So it's like, come on now. If we truly wanted to advance as a society, we'd be opening up the doors and opening up the, the possibilities of all these herbs and essential oils and all this great stuff that is so empowering towards enlightening one another, bringing connections together, inventing things. Oh my gosh,
Absolutely.
society would just be thriving. Oh boy.
Semi precious stones and crystals are another very important key to all of this.
Ooh, tell me more.
Every crystal has its own properties, its own metaphysical properties, spiritual properties. Um, like I've got a book right here. It's called The Pocket Book of Stones: Who They Are and What They Teach by Robert Simmons, and it lists all of the known semi-precious precious stones. Um, let's see, like right here, there's blue tourmaline, and then it tells you what it's for. The chakras, it's for the throat chakra and the third eye. Um, the physical attributes is it supports attunement to healing spirits and helps with headaches. Emotional, it aids clear expression of deep feelings and emotional cleansing. Spiritual, it facilitates spirit communication, opens the mind to higher awareness. And then it gives its locations, where it's from, its different properties.
And this
Um,
is in your book?
yes.
Oh my gosh, can I read to you some of the crystals that I have just so we could go a little bit down the rabbit holes to see what those meanings are and stuff?
Yeah.
Okay, so one that I have, it's called chrysocolla, Chryssocolla. I believe that's the way you spell it.
Yeah.
Chrysocolla.
Chrysocolla. Keywords is communication, expression of the sacred, goddess energies, gentleness, and power. It's associated with the throat chakra, heart chakra, and the root. The physical, it supports your adrenals and thyroid. It aids with stress-related illnesses. Emotional, it aids with calming, release of stress and anxiety. And spiritual, facilitates expressing inner wisdom and linking with the earth's awareness.
Ooh, I love it. Okay. Oh, I love it. Okay, so another one that I have is a rainbow moonstone.
Yes. Let me see. It may take me a second to find it.
No
I've
worries. I'm so excited to hear
all
this. This is
kinds
so cool.
of sticky notes in here, the ones that I have and the ones that I don't have. Uh, I've got moonstone, but I don't have rainbow moonstone.
Okay, that's all right.
But that's
That's all
neat.
right.
I was talking about just like my personal collection.
Oh, you're saying you have a moonstone?
Yes.
Oh, that's awesome.
All right, let's see. I found that first one for you just right. It was a quick flip.
Oh man, it
But
wanted you
this
to.
other one,
It's like,
I'm
here I am. Oh,
putting
that's cool.
down. Let's see, moonstone, rainbow moonstone. Here we go. Okay, optimism, vitality, inner peace, rainbow body of light, which is that. I don't know if you know about the rainbow body of light.
No, tell me
That's
more.
The rainbow body of light. There's over 100,000 documented cases, from ancient times all the way up through today of different yogis and people of that nature. You know, the guys that they'll go into a cave and meditate for 20 years.
Oh yeah.
They upon their death, their body erupts into this emission of rainbow light that surrounds them. And there was one of them a picture was taken, like a Polaroid picture, and the light, the photo was unedited, it wasn't tampered with in any way, but the light surrounding this yogi that was transitioning into this rainbow body of light, the light surrounding him looks like a lotus flower.
Whoa,
Like
man.
all of the petals and yes. And so the body will erupt into this light, and it is a type of ascension, that's what they're calling it. And the body will then shrink to a miniature size, and they will wrap this tiny body in different, uh, exotic fabrics and things, and basically put this little figure on display. And it was the body of a full-grown man. That,
Whoa.
yeah. So that's definitely something
And it
to
shrinks?
dig
Like to how
into.
big?
Yes, I I don't know the exact
Oh
size.
my
I know
gosh.
it is a fraction of the size of what the body was.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So that's the rainbow body of light. That's a good rabbit hole to dig
Whoa.
in.
I'm gonna have
Um,
to go down that.
your rainbow moonstone is for all chakras. Uh, physically, it supports the body in overcoming fatigue from depression. Emotionally, it inspires enthusiasm, self-appreciation, and joy. And spiritually, it stimulates awakening of the rainbow body of light.
Wow. Wow.
So, basically the attributes that come with it, if it's a stone that you have in your home, or that you carry with you in your pocket, like I have different stones that I carry with me. Most of the time, I've got moldavite around
Oh
my
my God! I used to
neck.
have a moldavite necklace, and I
Yeah.
misplaced it, and I'm kicking myself for it. I need to get another moldavite necklace.
You better jump on it. They're starting to put a lot of regulation and red tape around getting
What?
Moldavite
No
because,
way!
yeah, well, I mean, it was a meteor.
Yeah, it crashed in
And
Russia, didn't it?
yes, in Czechoslovakia, and or somewhere in the Czech Republic. But they are beginning to try to cease mining of Moldavite.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah.
Wow. I got definitely. So you always carry you have one on you at all times?
Yes, I'm either wearing Moldavite or Tiger's Eye.
Oh, I got a tiger's eye. I should start wearing that. What is
But
tiger's eye? What's that one? What does that one do?
well, I Tiger the different stones can attribute to, depending on what your astrology sign is. Like I'm an Aries, and Tiger's Eye is one of the Aries stones.
Oh,
It helps with a lot of the things that can be difficult for an Aries. Astrology is something that is I always, throughout my younger years, I thought was, kind of silly. I didn't pay attention to it. I always, discredited it. I didn't put any attention towards it at all. And I thought that, anyone that dealt with astrology was just, they were doing it for fun. But in fact, astrology can tell you scarily accurate who you are and what is going on in your life.
you know what? I've come to really appreciate astrology, and I can actually like see the similarities in people, and they go, "Oh, I'm this sign," and I watch, to see how they match up what I know about those signs, and I go, "Wow, that's quite interesting." They remind me a lot of this person who was that sign, or now they're doing that same kind of thing, and it's really intriguing when you're aware of it, and then being able to intentionally harness that power of those uh, great attributes of those.
Yes. So I found Tiger's Eye. It's balance between extremes, discernment, vitality, strength, practicality, fairness. Your chakras is solar plexus, which is your third, sacral is second, and root is the first. Uh, the physical, it supports hormonal balance and enhances general vitality. Emotionally, it facilitates finding emotional harmony with others, and spiritually instills spiritual balance, stamina, creativity, and clarity.
So you're okay. What did you say your sign was again?
Aries.
And so Tiger Eye really is that the stone of Aries?
It's one of. It's one that really I'm really drawn to.
Mm-hmm.
Each of these different stones, if you go into a rock shop or something like that, if you will, pay attention to where you're intuitively drawn,
Mm-hmm.
like where you feel most directed towards, and then let's say that you see there's a section, a shelf that's got all different pieces of Tiger's Eye, or Green Adventuring is another one. Um, if you will kind of hold your hand out over these stones and just maybe even close your eyes for a second, as you wave your hand over them, you will feel whichever one you're drawn to, you're supposed to pick up. You will feel a energetic tingling or vibration in your hand, and you can do each stone has its own energetic signature, if you will, or frequency, and each have a different feeling. Like if I have green jade in my hand, I get nauseous. I cannot touch jade.
Whoa.
It doesn't. I don't vibe with it. I don't know why. I just can't. Something about green jade is not. Uh, it doesn't work with me, and you know, thing things like that. I don't really necessarily understand why, but um, to tie it back into the hypnosis, if I was able to have someone take me under in the way that I do with a client and contact my subconscious, I could ask that question why, and could get an answer as to why it doesn't work, why it makes me sick, um, and get an understanding that way. But
When you're conducting the sessions, didn't you say you have a specific crystal?
yes, there's I have a piece of Tiger's Eye that's it's triangular shape, and I spin it between my fingers the entire time that we're doing sessions. So, the whole time that I was conducting your session, that piece of Tiger's Eye was in my hand. I was twirling it in my fingers the whole time.
Man, it's so incredible, when you think about that stuff, because this is the wisdom that the ancients used. You can't go wrong with if, because like I always think about how fire, the ocean, just staring at trees, looking at the sky. Those were the television back then. That was the
Yeah,
television. That's where they're getting the visions from. That's where they're getting those connections from. And it's like the stars were telling them the stories about themselves, and the fire was telling them stories about themselves. And so it's like, it's intriguing when you look at that, and just how much wisdom came through that, combined with, let's say, the omens of the animals, and what each of those symbolize, and of course the herbs that you're eating, and all those combinations of things. It'd be very interesting to know what would be, according to people's specific astrology symbols, and then you combine that with the specific crystals that work well with them, like to be able to streamline one person's life in such a way where they're like, whoa, okay, I'm really high vibrating right now, and this is, no wonder why so many manifestations, preferable manifestations, are arriving my reality.
right. Well, one more stone here before I put the book up. Another one that I've got, which is another meteorite is Tibetan tektite. Um, it's the keys are opening the chakra column, attunement to supramental force, accelerated evolution, and light body awakening. It works for all the chakras. Um, Physically, it aids with spinal alignment and brings light into the cells. Emotionally, it inspires the joy and wonder of spiritual awakening. Spiritually, it gently awakens Kundalini and allows downloads of spiritual light.
Ooh.
They are found in Tibet and southern China and believed to have formed in meteoric impacts more than 2,000 years ago. Chinese writer Liu Sun gave tektites the name meaning inkstone of the thunder god. Australian Aborigines refer to them as magic and believe that finding a tektite brings good luck. So, I mean, this book, the Pocket Book of Stones, who they are and what they teach, is a very, very good book.
Oh, can you look up one more for me? I have a selenite necklace, and I also have a selenite crystal. I'd love to see what kind of properties are in there.
Absolutely. Selenite is good for cleansing stones. All
I heard
stones,
about that.
yes, they pick up energies around you. They pick up your energies, and they can become full, I guess you could say. Um, like specifically amethyst, which is a purple stone. It is good for absorbing uh, negative energies. Well, eventually it needs to be uh, cleansed, and you can notice that by if you're carrying the stone around, you notice that you're having really good days. There's nobody's got an attitude or in a bad mood with you. You've got a good attitude. Things are just going good. And then, a couple of weeks later, you start noticing like a string of bad or negative days. And if you're still carrying this stone around, you can tell a difference in when you have the stone and when you don't. And if you put selenite on top of or set the stone on top of selenite and leave it, usually I leave it for about a day, then you can pick your stone up again after it's had time to sit with touching the selenite. And you'll notice that those good days come back. And it's strange. It's very strange um, how it works. But it's almost like the stones that you're carrying. If you're noticing benefits from them and those benefits start to dwindle away, if you'll take selenite and let the stone touch the selenite and leave it for overnight or leave it for a day and then pick it back up again, you'll notice those properties have come back or increased again. So that's the reason that I use selenite mostly. Let's see.
Now, what's the best way to clean selenite, or is it just a self-cleaning crystal?
I don't know.
So I heard that you can power them up. Some stones you can power up in the sun. Some you can power up in the moon.
Right. Yes. Yes, you can. And this book tells you all about that type of stuff.
Wow.
Selenites, spiritual activation, communion with the higher self, spirit guides, and angels. Third eye, the crown, and the etheric chakras. Um, Physical clears energy blockages, induces inner alignment, facilitates healing. Emotionally inspires one to release insecurity and reach for one's desires. Spiritually facilitates art, cleansing, upper chakra activation, and spiritual attunement. So those, yeah.
Incredible.
Selenite is fast and effective at cleansing the auric field. and it can clear congested energies or negativity from one's physical and etheric body. Selenite can lift one's awareness to higher planes, making it possible to consciously meet one's spirit guides and guardian angels. It facilitates the experience of receiving inner guidance. Placing a selenite wand upon one's back along the spine, one can achieve an energetic alignment of the vertebrae and the chakras as well. Selenite is also an excellent stone for building energy grids. A group of 6 or more wands arranged around one's body puts one into a mini energy vortex. Amplifies and harmonizes with most other stones, has special affinity for the Synergy 12, which is Moldavite, Phenacite, Tanzanite, Danburite, White Azitulite, Brookite, Herderite, Scolicite, Naturalite, Petalite, Tibetan Tektite, and Satulaka Azetulite. Oh, some of them have some doozy names.
Yeah. Wow. This is incredible, man. Well, thank you so much. I realize we're running out of time here, and I still have to add an introduction and an ending and stuff like that to this. But dude, thank you so much for taking time out of your day to spill the beans on all of your information, man. You're like an Indiana Jones of knowledge. So thank you so much for
Absolutely, man.
being open to this, man. Thank you for your explorations and for inspiring others to do the same.
Well, thank you for having me. Anyone that is interested in learning more or wishes to see about setting up a session with me can find me on Facebook, DreamsurfersQHHT. That's also my Etsy page name. TikTok is at Rob Fronabarger. And YouTube, I just started a YouTube page that has your session video
I
on
love it.
YouTube. It's also DreamsurfersQHHT. So thanks for having me, brother. It's an honor.
Oh gosh, man, I'm
Keep
so
doing what you
excited.
do.
Well, you have a great day, Rob, and I'll talk to you again soon.
You too, brother. Thank you.
Take care. Bye.
Bye.
Here's your fun fact. A dog can locate the source of a sound in 1/600th of a second and can hear sounds 4 times further away than a human can. Stay tuned to Inspirado Projecto for more fun facts.
This is Blythe Baines, and you're listening to Inspirado Projecto.